For Creamer Media's Polity, I'm Sheila Baradas. Today, we are joined by former erotic dancer, business owner, winner of Celebrity Survivor, and author Perlé van Schalkwyk, also known as GiGi, to discuss her book, GiGi, Nipple Caps and G-Strings. Thank you for joining us, GiGi.
It's very nice to be here with you, Sheila.
Winning Celebrity Survivor in 2010 is what brought you into mainstream South Africa. However, before winning the competition, you were most well known as GiGi, the erotic dancer. Did you encounter any prejudices on the show given your former profession?
Well, the reason why Mnet chose me, I think, was to put some color into the whole thing and to stew everything up. And that's exactly what I did. They thought if they're going to put an erotic dancer on the island, that I'm going to take off my clothes in the evening, dance around the fire naked, do some weird stuff, which I didn't do, of course, because, I grew up in Paarl, as I say in the book, and I grew up in the mountains. My dad loved nature. So I entered into Survivor as Perlé van Schalkwyk, not as GiGi, not as the stripper. And that's what happened. So I was definitely put in there for a reason, and I played it in a completely different way.
What would you say are some of the most common preconceived ideas about strippers and erotic dancers?
Well, I think people always think that we all come from an orphanage. We've got sad stories to tell, shame, they have to do it. But these are very strong, powerful women, and the girls are there to make money. I made it a career for 15 years. I grew up extremely religious, which provided a very strong basis for me as a child. So I never needed to drink to dance. I never needed to take drugs to dance. And that's all like an old fallacy that people see in the movies. Shame, these poor girls are all drug addicts and they drink. And it's completely different. It's a hard industry. It's a long working hours. It's all about money, and time is money in a strip club.
Strip clubs are usually portrayed as a dark, dangerous underworld, yet you paint a picture of an industry that is quite a close-knit family, full of beautiful women and lustful and sometimes lonely men. Do you agree with this assessment?
Well, it is show business after all. That's what we do. We run an entertainment venue, and it's theatre. There's a stage. I've got 3 stages. I love to see all stages full with the girls on stage. And yes, 80% of our men that come in there are married men, and some of them are lonely. A lot of people are lonely in their marriages. And there's just something about going into a strip club, sitting down and just talking your heart out with a stranger, maybe taking her for a dance. South Africa's got beautiful women, and we only employ South African girls over the spectrum, all the races. And for me, it's so interesting to work with these girls because they all come from different backgrounds. We have been advertising plenty on the student media to get dancers in. So I've got very well-educated young girls working there that are using the money to pay for their studies, to buy their first car, and to make them independent as young South African women.
You refer to men as sex objects in your book. Given your experiences, would you say there is a shift in the power dynamics from the client to the stripper the moment the client walks into a strip club? Who has the power there?
Well, absolutely, the girls, because the minute that a guy walks into the club, all that's written on his forehead is money. So they're going to turn him into a sex object. And that's what they do. And that's what we train our new dancers coming in, because the minute that you turn a man into a sex object, he feels like his wife, he looked at him last time on their honeymoon with lust in her eyes. He buys into the fantasy with his money. And our dancers will always tell the guys, oh, you're the most gorgeous man that I've seen tonight. You are the most sexy man. They love it. Men love it. They just love the attention. And that's why they go there, to buy into the fantasy of somebody telling them with lust in their eyes that they are the most gorgeous man that they've seen.
Have you ever been in a situation where you actually felt powerless?
No, but I always have to be very careful because, there's a very fine line between taking your clothes off and people thinking, oh, she's taking her clothes off so we can misuse her afterwards. You understand?
Yes.
I talk about it in my book. I had to be very, very careful. Some of my fellow dancers has not been lucky. There has been girls that's been raped. And I tell this in the book. It happened to me once where I did a show And I wasn't with somebody, and I quickly learned that whenever you go out to people's private houses, you have to have somebody with you. You have to have a driver that comes inside with you. People have to understand that he's going to be there. He's going to take control of situations if things go out of control. Unfortunately, that is just how it works.
Yes.
You can be in control on the stage, but afterwards, because they've seen you with no clothes on, you have to let them understand that there's a difference between the entertainment that they've just seen and now you're getting dressed and you're leaving the venue.
I guess, this is where your now husband, Mark Kroll, comes into the picture. Because you mentioned in the book how he always used to be there with you. Can you tell us a bit more with regard to that relationship and obviously your career being a stripper?
Well, we met each other in a strip club. I mean, I was a dancer at the ranch and he was a bouncer at the ranch. And then when the ranch closed down and the Titty Twister closed down, I danced at the Titty Twister for a long time as well, and he was there as well. When these venues closed down, we went on the road together, and it was very helpful because whenever we were doing, and we did huge functions with a lot of people, and whenever I walked off the stage, he was behind me. We worked as a team, and that helped me so much throughout my career. I mean, I was really spoiled to have him by my side, and also because he knew the industry. He was never jealous. He knew exactly what I was doing. The show was never changed or anything like that. But we became such a strong team. And now we've got the Lollipop Lounge together. We've got guest houses together. We've got the distillery in Cape Town together. And I've just got a luxury to have a partner that understands me and works with me. And it's a very close-knit partnership, and I'm lucky to have that.
There is definitely a vulnerability, however, being a stripper. You are literally laid bare for all to see. Would you say that this is why there is a strong affiliation with stripping and drug and alcohol abuse?
When you watch a girl on stage in the club, they're extremely powerful. You cannot drink too much to perform on stage or to make money. Then you're going to lose control. You don't know what you're doing there. I always say to new dancers, if you have to go on stage and you have to drink before you do it, or you have to take any kind of drug to dance, then it's not for you. Then it's not going to work. And a lot of the girls that's been working with us has been there for a long time. They know that this is the place where they make their money. And as soon as a girl comes in that's on drugs or something, they will quickly come and report it and tell us, and they work this girl out immediately. We also have to understand that the girls work with very little clothes on in the clubs. So it's easy for us to monitor and see whether somebody's on drugs or not. And it's best always to get rid of the rotten apple, and because that just spoils everything for everybody.
How would you respond to those who say that the industry objectifies and exploits women?
Well, we're not working with normal girls here. We are working with girls with good bodies that's not shy to show their bodies. So, yes, they are objects of lust. But if you have a beautiful Ferrari, are you keeping it in the garage? No, you're going to drive it on a Sunday. And this is what these girls are proud of their bodies. They're proud of what they do. It's not a normal girl out there that becomes an erotic dancer.
Do you think that the sexualization of women to some extent contributes to the gender-based violence that is so prevalent in South Africa?
The gender-based violence, I think, starts at home because men does not have respect for women overall. And with poverty in South Africa, with so many people sitting without jobs, that just makes gender-based violence so much more, and it just fires it up at home. That's where it all starts. At a club like the Lollipop Lounge or any other strip club, when men walk into a club, I mean, I've got bouncers in place, I've got rules in place, and men have to understand that here we respect a woman. If you come inside there, and also I teach my girls to be in control of the situation. They're never not in control of the situation.
Would you say that the potential earnings from stripping is the most powerful motivator for women to continue to work in such a tough and demanding industry?
Of course, that's why they're there. It's all about money, nothing else. But you have to understand that it's a gamble. Every single night when they walk in, you can be in a club with 20 girls, of which there's 5 beautiful girls, and that's going to be maybe your most popular girls. So it's really a tough industry. And we, in the dressing room, show business, and I dry a lot of tears because the show must go on. You have to get out there. You have to smile. The girl that smiles the best and it looks like she's enjoying it, that's the girl that's going to make money. Because people come into a strip club to forget about their problems. And let's face it, with this pandemic and with COVID, everybody's been going through really, really tough times. But going to a strip club is like going to a circus where the clowns put on their faces and they smile. And that's why people pay, to see people, beautiful people that can just take their minds off problems that they're having.
While you are known as a former erotic dancer and now successful businesswoman, you also have a degree in drama and have starred in playwright Jan Opperman's theatre production Nipple Caps and G-Strings. Opperman describes the production as a form of couples counseling. Can you explain what he means by this?
When we started doing Nipple Caps and G-Strings, I knew that when I walked on stage, and I mean, they're going to see a dancer on stage, a girl with little clothes on. So I knew that I had the guys in the audience. For me, the most important thing was to play for the girls and to make sure that the girls understand the message that I was trying to get out. Now we see more and more couples coming into the Lollipop Lounge and in the clubs over the weekends and having a dancer and trying out fantasy, because I believe that fantasy in a marriage is very, very important. And the place to see where fantasy gets turned on and to sit there and watch these girls perform and just turn on that fantasy is a strip club. So I think a lot of couples are brave enough now. South Africans are coming out and they are experimenting stuff. And when you're doing a dance for a couple, you are mostly dancing for the girl. You're not dancing for the guy. I mean, he's just sitting there and enjoying it, watching the two girls touching each other, because it's lovely dancing for a woman. Her skin is soft. She smells so nice. I always, when I dance, I went for the girl. And now most of the dancers at the club, they will pinpoint for the girl, and that's how they're going to make their money. And I will encourage all South Africans to say, forget about these hard times. Come out. We are social distancing in the clubs. We are sanitizing. The girls are wearing their mask. It's really hard times that we've been through. And we are trying to make it a safe place where people can still go for entertainment.
So you have erotic dancer, actress, successful businesswoman, winner of Celebrity Survivor South Africa, sex therapist, author, and wife on your CV. But can you tell us about your leap from being an erotic dancer to owning your own strip club and now your own distillery?
Well, owning the distilleries, I was looking for a little business in Cape Town, and I always go down to Cape Town. I mean, I'm in love with the Oeverberg. And I just saw this little distillery on a farm there, and it was standing open, and we took a chance, and I had no idea what was waiting for me. Now we are producing award-winning gins, and it's 7 years later, but it's been a long, hard journey. I think I just leap into things without sometimes not thinking about what I'm doing. Especially now with the book as well, I never realized that writing is such a lonely, hard thing to do. I mean, I spent in lockdown, I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning. It was freezing cold, but I was determined to finish the book. I put my mind to it. And that's the same thing that I did with the distillery. I had an idea about guest houses, and I've got the guest houses here in Joburg. But I think if you just have a dream and you reach for that and keep on going, and sometimes you make stupid mistakes, and sometimes you learn through those mistakes. But you just have to put your head down and don't stop. You must just. That's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm just going forward.
Do you think that there is another book that you could write, and maybe you could possibly write about the love story between Mike Kroll and yourself?
Yes, I've touched a little bit on the love story between me and Mike. I'm writing another book now, but I'm concentrating more on the different girls that worked for me throughout the years and all their stories. But I think this book is just writing himself, and I'm sure there's going to be pieces of Mike coming in there as well. But I think I've touched so much. It was such a broad spectrum of so many years that I had to cover in this book, Nipple Caps and G-Strings. We kept the movie rights for the book, so we have been approached already by producers and to do the movie of the book, which is so exciting. And we're going to be part of this, me and Nan, my co-writer, so that we can keep the book true to how we wrote it. So that's very exciting because we're busy with that, and hopefully we can get all our actors that we've got in mind to play the different roles.
Just referring back to your book, you mentioned that your mom read your book. How did she feel? I mean, reading through those chapters about your shows and all of that stuff, how did she feel about it? Do you think that she knew all the details of your shows to that extent?
No, she didn't. But my mother is quite a character, and she's open-minded. She's 82 now, and she read the whole book, and it was so nice working with her. You know, it was such a special thing that I had to write this book with her, and to have that privilege to actually be able to give it to your mother and say, listen, this is my life. I said to you, you're not going to like some of the stuff, but I'm giving it to you because I want you to understand. So it was a great project to do with her.
You seem to be surrounded by a strong woman, GiGi. I wish you every success with your book going forward. And as you say, the show must go on.